That's good enough. That's what Obama's doing for us. Hope. That's all we got right now.
Okay, so let's talk, Mom. Tell me what your name is.
I'm Betty Risker.
Okay, wait for 1 second. Tell me what your name is and tell me how this situation has affected your life, the abuse has affected your life.
Oh, okay. My name is Betty Risker. I'm Kalyn, the mother of Kalyn Risker. When I think of what my beautiful, precious daughter has gone through, it brought to mind when a parent sacrifice and do everything they know to do for their child. Kalyn attended 2 high schools, graduated, and as her sister had mentioned, she had earned a associate level in art. So when she when she applied for a scholarship, for a contest, really, she enrolled in a contest. I was working, so a friend of ours went with her and said it was a panel at Wayne State University, and she came out on top. We received the congratulatory letter. She was an industrial design recipient. She was on her way because art was her world. She, as I said, she had earned it by the 2 years in high school. The 2 high schools she completed, But not only that, we were proud of her because she's worked since she's 14, she's always been industrial, and she already applied for a big and beautiful contest. So we knew, and just in our heart, she was on her way to New York because she was in one of the finalists. There were so many positive things coming along. But the young man she met, he was in school, he was working, so he seemed nice, and my husband and I would pick him up from work, and he seemed like a nice guy. He was all the things that you expect for your daughter. You don't expect them to be anything other than, someone respectful, because her father loved her, and all that we know to do is to give them love and to show they're special. But when this incident happened, Mayette took the picture, her younger sister. I have 2 daughters. All I can remember is the hospital room and the sheet being covered, and I was looking at it, and in my memory thinking, that's my baby's blood. That was the trauma I remember, seeing my baby's blood on these sheets. And our whole lives were changed. I was in school, I had earned my bachelor degree in human resource. Kalyn was industrial design student. Mayette was in a school for broadcasting and journalism. This incident just turned our lives around. Mayette went back to school, College Creative Studies. She'll be graduating next month as a photographer. I went back to school. I had earned my organizational development. Now I'll be completing this year my master's in organizational management. Everything we've done has been centered around SAFE and how we can develop and help Kalyn develop the vision. I'm on the board. Kalyn has completed she changed her major from industrial design because her peripheral vision was affected. With the alloys holding up her eye and all of the things affecting her, she no longer followed through with the big and beautiful modeling, even though she was still big and beautiful to me. And the fact that she completed her human resource to be able to help other people. She's going on to complete her master's to further develop her skills in human resource. But all I see is my beautiful baby. When I was expecting, I was an entertainer and a model. And I remember in September, the year before she was born, she was due, because I couldn't eat in order to perform the show, and I loved being a performer. I loved traveling the world. But September is the last time I performed in 71. She was born in 72. And I remember looking at her and introducing myself. I said, I didn't know what to do with the baby. Because I saw my husband, I said, you know, he said, we read the books, we'll learn. And I said, hello, my name is Betty Risker. I'm your mother. I've been chosen by God to guide and direct you and to protect you and to show you what to do. But you do not belong to me. You belong to him. I dedicated you to him. I love you, and I will love you all your life. And she was looking at me the whole time I was speaking. She never blinked, which freaked me out because I wasn't used to it. And she watched me, and when I finished introducing myself, and I said, I love you with all my heart. I don't know what else to say because I don't have a pattern because my mother and I weren't close. And she never blinked. And then I looked on her lip. She had a 5-point star on her lip. And then you know how you look and you examine your baby? And I called the nurse. She had a 4-point star and a crescent moon on her thigh. I'm like, I thought she was sent by God because I had just lost a baby girl in '69. I lost her in July. She was due in November. And I remember looking at her at Ford Hospital where she was born on the bed. And I remember her heart was showing and her skin, the covering hadn't. And I remember her legs were crossed and my little girl looking at me and she was dead. So I was thinking this was a sign from God that he had reinstated the spirit that I had lost. And this was my Kalyn. And the first name I wanted was Sky. I couldn't decide on Sky or Kalyn. So I named the one I lost Sky. And she would have been 40 this year. So I said Sky, Kalyn, and then I just made up Kalyn. And then I meet someone with a baby named Sky Kalyn. I said I could have had both of them because I loved it. So I just love and I'm proud of Kalyn ever since she was born. Because I had to, in labor 2 days, she was 10 pounds, practically a couple of ounces from 10 pounds. And I said, well, I lost my figure and my career. I don't want anything happening to my baby because they were going to say after 2 days, I was in there from Friday to Sunday. The labor was every 2 minutes. I went through a lot. Then I had cesarean. And the fact that I was sacrificed not only the career, but I chose to do this because I loved her so much. Get them through private school, Dominican, because by this time I was divorced, was a single mother, 2 daughters through private school, Catholic school, and I was down sometimes to 1 pair of shoes, but that was the sacrifice. I cannot tell you how all of that rushed through in that hospital room when I saw my baby, that someone out of all my sacrifice, all that I love, all that we've done, would have the nerve to do this. It just, who gives anyone that right when they can just walk away? That's what I feel about it. But going back to Safe and what she's done, we've acquired the office. It's when she called and said, Mom, she was trying to get an office somewhere else. She had the money, and we just found out, and she was there at 9 in the morning, and someone had beat her to it a minute before, and her sister and all of us, since we are God-fearing and we give God all the praise, we were like, okay. We didn't get upset. We said, wonder what God has for us, because she had all she could do, having the money, going to get the office. We didn't get that office. And sure enough, we just got something that's even better. The service, everything is going to help and work with what Safe's objective is, getting our clients access to an area that they have transportation, being able to have the training and other places that we can work out of still. Just so much that's being offered, but we need what people don't realize, I guess, with administrative costs, with just, as Kalyn had brought out earlier, with gas and paper and pens. We have put our money together. We have dues, and I try to pay in advance, and just so that we can help with ongoing costs, because with the sponsors, there have been a blessing. We've used every dime. Everything's accountable. Everything that we're responsible for, we are responsible for because we have a higher power, and we're grateful. And this, as the board, we are behind the leader of SAFE, the figurehead of SAFE, 100%. And we are so extremely proud of her and her efforts. There's nothing we wouldn't do to help her to advance and to bring it to fruition.
Now hug.
My baby. Oh, I love you so much. God bless me the day you were born. And I said that then, and I say it now. I know sometimes I get on her nerves because I'm so proud. She just don't. And I try to contain it. You know, she's like, mother, mother, but she don't know. You know, I remember ever since Kalynn, always known she had a mission. When she was 2 years old and I had her baby sister was born, and my husband, we were getting out of the car, and Kalynn walked in the middle. She had a little pink hat and coat. She walked in the middle of the street, and people at the bus stop was running. Traffic stopped on both sides. I'm standing there with Mayette, and I'm screaming, my baby, and Joe is trying to get her. By the time we got her, and she was just walking, and she walked straight in the middle of the street and just stood there. And the cars all came to a stop. I remember she fell out of the back seat of a car on the expressway, running, and got up and was running behind her father because he was driving, didn't know she had fell out on the expressway. I remember so many incidents that it seems as if that I know that she has a reason for being here, all life-threatening incidents. And one time she was working late after school. Remember that incident? You were standing at the bus stop, and she started praying because it was a group of boys walking, and it was dark, and it was an isolated area. And she said the group of them just walked out in the street and around her and back on the sidewalk. And we knew that was the hand of God protecting her. And he's always been there. And in spite, that's how we know that maybe our plans have changed, because this is not the direction any of us had decided. And that's why Mayette wants to document it, because she knows firsthand, as a family, every single one of us have been affected by this incident. All of our careers have changed. All of our objectives and all of our direction has been redirected and changed. We're not complaining, we're just saying how it can impact a family and what a family that has to go through in order to make it work. Like the one that lost his son, you know. What is it, the one American Most Wanted?
I can hear there's an ice machine going.
Oh yes, that's right.
And I'm sure it's picking it up, the ice going, so. Ooh, he brought me to tears, I have to tell you. I think it's done. Okay, so what I'd like to do, and just leave you there, I'm gonna fix your little microphone cord real quick so we can get going, but, so Kalynn, this is gonna be your opportunity to really talk as open and candidly as your mom and sister have about what happened to you, and even how it's affected your family still, but how, always bring it back to, if you can, how, while it's changed the way that your life has gone, it has only made you stronger and inspired you to make this SAFE project work. Because you're struggling with the SAFE project for financial reasons. You know, you've got volunteers, but you know, there has to be, it's kind of like the concept of a community raising a family. This is a problem that affects a lot of people in our community, and it takes a lot of people to address it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it takes time, money, and people.
Yes.
And you know, you guys are only so many.
Yes.
So always bring that experience that you've had back around to that. And does that help keep the direction for you?
Yes.
We could talk forever about how unbelievable this experience is, but I really want to, especially from you, Kalynn, to nail that message home to whoever's watching, that, you know, I did go through this, but all it's done is made me realize how important this is for everybody else out there who has suffered. Some of the people that I talked to said, you know, I had a great life. Nobody realized that, or at least from external, you know, people, they didn't see that I was going through some form of abuse. And I happened upon Kalynn, and I was dying inside, and I needed to talk to her because I needed that help. So, you know, you look like you've got it all together, and lots of women out there do too.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know how many people that are passing you by
Right.
that are dying inside, like other people, you know, like this woman said, for that kind of assistance. So, you know, paint the picture what you went through first, and I really want you to give this the real narrative. Remember, we talked about that. So don't stop when you are nervous about saying the next thing. Keep telling us. And talk about the details.
Should I do this by myself, or?
For her, switch the microphone too.
Yeah.
To make sure everything is picked up.
Yeah, maybe we should. Would you
Want me
mind just
to
kind
go?
of sitting in
Okay.
the other room or something? We got the phone call and talk about your experience from that phone call all the way up until Kalynn came home.
Okay. I remember I was sitting in my bedroom and I received a call, and I will never forget his mother on the phone, and she said, "Kalyn's in the hospital." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Kalyn's in the hospital." I said, "Why?" She said, "I don't know, her and Aubrey." I said, "But why, what's going on? What's wrong? What?" So by this time, I'm really hysterical. She said, I said, "Is she alive?" "I don't know." I said, "What do you mean you don't know?" I was livid. I think I was screaming or trying to keep from screaming or trying to make, and then I started panicking. I know my voice started cracking. I raised I said, "What do you mean? Is my baby alive or dead? What is?" "I don't know. You have to go to the hospital because I can't tell you that. I don't know. The doctors will have to tell you." And she refused. She said, "Well, it was," I said, "Who did it?" or something. She said, "Aubrey, they got into it." But she was still like she was trying to blame it on Kalynn or something. I really don't know after that. I don't remember. Everything is like a blank. All I know is I was so angry with her that I don't know what I would have done if she had been in the room. But I remember, I don't remember, I think my husband, I don't remember. I just know it was other people with me. I don't remember who all was with me. I think her dad, my husband, I think other people. All I know is we rushed and we got to the room and she was sitting up. And I think we all stopped at once. I'm still amazed that she knew it was us, that she knew our footsteps. And when we walked, and I don't know if you know at the time that sometimes you tell yourself it's not about you, because Kalyn's, you know, I get involved and it's not about you. I could hear her words, she says it all the time. But I'm thinking, how can I keep from affecting her because she can't see how she looked? It was the worst. I cannot even tell you. They call that cleaned up. I don't know what it was. I didn't know it was cleaned up. I didn't know this was after. I thought it was before, because that's how horrendous it looked. Her eye, everything about her was black, and it was all swollen, everything. And then when her eyeball opened, it was totally black, even inside. I'd never seen an eyeball totally black. So I thought my beautiful baby, who was gifted and creative and had lost her vision. I don't remember what I said or what I did. I just knew I fell apart. I knew that because this was the way I felt about my children. When both of my grandbabies were born, I did not leave the hospital. They brought a cot in for me, or else I was going to sleep on a chair. I didn't matter, but thankfully they brought a cot. I did not leave my grandbabies. I did not leave them, even when one had to go to the hospital. I sat in a chair for the whole week she was in the hospital. I didn't leave. She was in Children's Hospital. They just told me where her clothes, the diapers were, because that's the way I feel about my family and about my children and about my grandbabies. So to see my baby like this, it was just, and that to know that it wasn't a car accident, it wasn't anything circumstantial, it was nothing that could not have been prevented. And then his mother, I really, she was always trying to protect her son and never took responsibility. But I knew she had some issues herself, the way they were raised and the way they were born, that, I knew she didn't really raise her son, so I knew she didn't know. But at that time, it didn't matter. All I know is that my grandbaby looked identical to her father. I can't hate him as I would like to, because Aaron looked like his twin, which I thought was a real, it's just amazing. It's just amazing.
Okay. And so what happened, so you don't remember too much about that period because it was...
I just remember the phone call. I remember going to the hospital room, which I don't even know how I got there. And I remember people were around me, other people came with me. I'm sorry, I only remember when BB called, and she couldn't tell me if my baby was alive or dead. She refused to say. She said, the doctors will have to tell you. So what did that sound like? I thought she was dead. I really did. I really did. And I was just grateful when I saw her, but then her vision and her looks that, did you show them your graduation picture? You got to see her graduation picture. And please show it to them. Then you'll see what I mean. She looked as beautiful as the rose she was posed with. And she still does. But the fact that someone tried to alter it.
Thank you. Whew, you bring tears in my eyes every time you speak, woman. I know the love of a child and a mother is unbeatable.
But that's part of the reason why, I feel very fortunate. I know I could look like, I know I could look like.
Well, every time I see you, I just think, how is it possible? You see the pictures